After years of using DistroKid, I am switching to LANDR to distribute my new music project. Why, you may ask? Well, keep watching the video to hear how these two services compare and to hear my take on why I am making the switch. Alright guys, so I am super excited to announce that I'm finally gearing up to release my first new piece of music for the first time in 3 years under a totally new artist project, and I think it's going to be awesome. As you guys may or may not already know, I previously released music under the artist project called LANDR. I started doing that in 2020, and my most recent release was in 2022. And while I'm still really proud of the work that I did back then, my music interests have changed a lot over the years, and I'm ready to try something new. As of the last 2 years, I really fell into electronic music and started to learn how to DJ, and I want to start releasing music that's kind of more consistent with what I've been doing recently. And because the new music I'm releasing has nothing to do with that old project LANDR, I'm starting a totally new artist project from scratch under my own name. I previously used DistroKid to distribute all of the releases for LANDR when I was doing that a few years ago, so I've got extensive experience doing that. But this time around, I'm switching to distributing my new project under LANDR because there was a number of features that I found really attractive about LANDR over DistroKid. And so I figured it's time to try something new musically and also try something new distribution-wise. And I want to share with you guys my experience using each of these distributors. I want to show you around backstage in the LANDR interface to show you what it looks like to set up a release. Because as I mentioned, I'm currently gearing up to release this actual song in a couple weeks. So I've got the LANDR Distribution Pro subscription activated. It's got a lot of cool features that I frankly think are necessary for the type of music that I'm going to be releasing. And I have my song mostly set up at this point. There's a couple more details I have to work out, but I've got enough here that I can show you what the process of releasing a track through LANDR looks like. So when you create a new release, the first section called track information, we'll dive into there, lets you upload the actual audio file for your mastered track, tell it the title, as well as the genre, tell it your artist name. So this is the very first time this artist is going to be distributed on Spotify, so that's pretty exciting, brand new artist project. Information about the producers, information about the lyrics. Now this part is kind of important because this is like a remix, it's technically a cover of a song that's already out. You have to give the original people who worked on the song credit. It's just the thing that we do to properly give credit for the intellectual property we borrow in our society. So I got this information off of Wikipedia actually. You can look up the song if it's popular enough to have its own Wikipedia page, and you can find a whole bunch of the credits. So I was able to take anybody who was involved with writing the song, writing the lyrics, and just punch in that information through LANDR here. And in the composition section is where I tell LANDR that this is a cover song. And it's a cover song because I am re-recording the vocals. However, the melody and the lyrics are, of course, borrowed from the original song. And in my opinion, one of the great things about LANDR is it makes it very easy to get a mechanical license, which is something that you need when you're releasing a cover song, so the original people who made the original version of the song can get credit and get some kind of royalty every time your version of the song gets played. Licensing, of course, is another thing that they have to ask about to make sure you own the rights to all of the material that you're going to be putting in the song. And in this case, I do, so it makes it easy. If you're publishing like a remix and you're borrowing sounds, there's a couple more hoops that you have to jump through. Probably I'll make a video later on that covers the intricacies of how do you release a cover song versus releasing a remix and all of the intellectual property rights that you have to respect when you're borrowing music or sounds from other people. So that's track information. And then you go into the release information section. So there's probably some more stuff I still have to fill out here. But you're going to basically, tell it more about composition owner, master recording owner. This is actually going to be me, my artist, because I own this composition, meaning this version of the song and this master. Never been distributed before. I don't have a label because I'm totally independent. Year of recording actually will be this year. I can actually just fill out this information right now. And then click next, and then we can move through to the cover art. I've already got this uploaded. This is just something I designed myself with some photographs that I already had. And then Release settings is where you tell it what stores you want to distribute to, and then you set the release dates. When they recommend, if you're going to be releasing your song on a specific date, that you give them at least 14 days notice between uploading the song and setting up everything and the song actually appearing on streaming services like Spotify and Apple Music. All of the distributors have their own recommendations. When I worked with DistroKid in the past, this was actually 28 days, so 4 weeks. It's refreshing to see. It looks like it's actually a little bit shorter with LANDR, which works to my advantage because right now it's April 18th and I'm running out of time. This is just your last chance to review all of the information that you gave it over the last few pages to make sure it's all right before it goes public. And so for now, I'm just going to hit save and quit, and that basically saves my release as a draft so I can go back and edit any of the information as needed just to get it all ready for prime time. So why LANDR? Why am I choosing to switch distribution services for this new project? First and foremost, my favorite part about LANDR is that they don't charge you an extra fee to keep your music release live forever. So for the cost of the annual subscription, you don't have to pay anything extra every time you upload music to make sure the music stays live even if your subscription lapses. On the other hand, you guys may know that DistroKid will charge you an annual subscription, but they also charge you an additional fee. They call it their Leave a Legacy option, where that will preserve your song even if your DistroKid subscription lapses. That the song won't get taken down. So in the past, I've always paid that extra fee to DistroKid, and just to make sure that if my DistroKid subscription ever lapsed or my credit card declined or anything happened, that my music wouldn't get taken down from the distribution services. LANDR only charges a one-time fee for anyone releasing a cover song. So you saw on the previous page that if you need a mechanical license, it's just a one-time $15 fee and they figure it out for you, versus DistroKid will charge recurring fees over the lifetime of the song to keep renewing licenses and things like that. That adds up after a while, and for my specific music project, which is going to be kind of EDM, house music based, a lot of the music I'm making will be covers and remixes of popular songs. LANDR gives you dedicated human customer support for your releases if you have the Distribution Pro option like I do. And over my years helping artists promote music, I've seen artists come through all different kinds of distribution services and have problems. Sometimes it happens. It's rare, but things do happen. They have problems with their release not making it to certain streaming platforms, with their artist name getting messed up. I just like having the peace of mind knowing that if something goes wrong with one of my releases, there's a mistake, something doesn't get synced up right, I have a real person who can answer my query and help me out and get it sorted. And it seems like LANDR actually does a faster distribution time than DistroKid, as I mentioned before. LANDR recommends a 2-week window between finalizing the details on their distribution platform and getting it to streaming services, whereas in the past with DistroKid it was 4 weeks. So if you're like me and you're cutting it close to your release date, that's also going to be a big leg up for you using LANDR versus DistroKid. There's a very big and significant cost savings that you can have with LANDR versus DistroKid if you're going to be releasing music over the lifetime of your career. So the LANDR Distribution Pro and the DistroKid Musician Pro are the two most comparable plans, and they both come out to $44.99 per year. DistroKid has a whole bunch of extra fees that they will continue charging you. Let's say if you wanted to release 5 singles and 3 albums between now and the last 5 years, you're actually looking at spending an order of magnitude more for DistroKid over LANDR in this specific case. And the last LANDR feature that I want to tell you about is what I think is the most clever feature that they have. They allow you to import your releases from a previous distribution service that you may have used into LANDR, and that'll sync all of the metadata, the streaming stats, and playlist ads that you've already achieved on that previous release. And what that allows you to do then is that you can keep your music alive with LANDR in perpetuity, so you can cancel your previous distributor if that distributor was going to charge you a recurring subscription just to keep your music alive and publicly available. And the way that you do that is from this My Releases tab, you go to Add Release, and instead of adding a new release like I did with this new buttons track, you go to Import a Release. And then you just give it kind of all the information through the Spotify URL, and then it's going to go ahead and find the information and then just import it into LANDR. This video is sponsored by LANDR, and the team over there was kind enough to let me use their distribution service in exchange for teaching you guys about it. So if you're interested in learning more about LANDR and possibly using it for your own distribution needs, you can use my referral link. I'll put it in the description down below, and my link will get you 20% off any subscription that you buy from LANDR and the mastering plugin itself. And in addition, I get a small commission for referring you guys, so it's a way that you can help support the channel. And in the big picture, this video is going to be the first of a small series of videos that I'm going to do to show you guys my experience releasing a brand new music project from ground zero. And there will be more videos to come on this topic as we follow this release from distribution to release to promotion. I think it'll be an awesome learning experience for me and for everyone watching at home. So I hope you guys choose to stay tuned and follow me for the rest of this music release journey. Thanks, guys.